long overdue. And so the fact that we finally get to just hang out on IG Live, appreciate you having me on your show. I'm just here for the clout, to steal all your followers, and because the goal.
How little clout you will get from me.
What's going on, homies? Welcome back to Homies and Heroes. This episode is going to be fantastic, so I want you to do me a favor. I want you to hit subscribe, whether you're listening on podcast or you're watching on YouTube. I want you to hit subscribe, leave a review, leave a comment, smash that like button, whatever you have to do to get this algorithm to love us, because this episode needs to get out to as many people as possible. You have been warned. This man is a man on fire, y'all. My friend Jonathan Rivera is dropping heat on this episode, and you cannot miss it. Jonathan's out of Florida, Southern Florida, man, and he has just had such a passion for this next generation. He's had a passion and really has had so many great questions on why things are happening, and because he's had those great questions, he's stumbled upon some great answers, and we talk a little bit about that, his journey, his story, and so I believe that you're really going to enjoy this episode. So let's jump right in with a talk with my friend Jonathan Rivera.
What it is,
What's going on, bro?
What's going on, Jonathan? How are you doing?
I'm chilling, bro. Happy to see you.
Dude, it's so good to see you guys. We are going to talk about UFOs. We're going to talk about the Loch Ness Monster. And listen, are they among us? Those are the hot topics that you guys voted for on my latest poll. I didn't get to share that with you, Jonathan. We voted on a poll. You don't get to choose what we talk about. This is my show. Totally
Gotcha.
playing. Jonathan, introduce yourself to the people. Tell them a little bit of who you are and what you're doing right now at the moment.
Gotcha. Well, first of all, Eli, I think this is long overdue. And so the fact that we finally get to just hang out on IG Live, appreciate you having me on your show. I'm just here for the clout, to steal all your followers, and because the goal.
How little clout you will get from me.
And so, yeah, man. My name is Jonathan Rivera, and I'm from Orlando, Florida. Puerto Rican, Latino stand-up. Ya tu sabes, papi. And so from Orlando, Florida, I'm a pastor here. Right now, I'm a creative pastor at my church. Been doing that for the past 2 years. Before that, I did student ministry for 6 years, and I loved it. And then I'm also part of the Assemblies of God. And so we have a district, and in our district, we have a leadership college that I help to run. And I just love Jesus, man. Love traveling the country and preaching. Love being able to hang out with people like Eli, and just love helping as many people as I possibly can. So that's kind of like the church stuff. I love Orlando. I'm a Disney head, and so we love all the parks, and so we're there all the time. Which, by the way, bro, I feel safer at Magic Kingdom than I do at Target. Like, Disney's not playing games, bro. Disney is not playing games.
And you know what? The media is not showing us that, because I would be in Orlando tomorrow if I had accurate information on what you're saying. We need to be going to Disney tomorrow. How are you guys handling it? Because the news is very weird right now. Talking about, I mean, we're in the epicenter too, right? Texas, Florida, they're both spiking all over the place. You guys doing all right handling that? Like you said, you feel safer in some places than others. How are you guys?
Yeah, so like you said, bro, like when it comes to like the media and what you see on TV, like it almost comes to a point like you don't know who to believe anymore. You know what I'm saying? You don't know who to listen to. And so I think it's valid. Like, coronavirus is real. We have people in our church who have passed away because of coronavirus. I have people actually lost a family member to coronavirus. We have people who are sick in our churches that we're praying for. And so there's like a level of caution, right? But at the same time, it's not like the world's like falling apart and everyone's running around like a chicken without a head. And so I think it's like a level of caution that you have. Like, I need to be careful, wear my mask, be careful where I go, social distance. But at the same time, trying to have some level of normalcy in your life. And so there's like the argument of like, we shouldn't be in Disney because, you know, like people are going to get sick. And then the other part is like, well, we kind of need Disney to be open because I need to feed my kids. And so you like, it's a never ending battle. No one's going to be happy. And so I'm trying to be the best of both worlds. I'm going to Disney with my mask on. And so that's the way that I like live within that tension.
We don't know where these people have been. It is right to wear your mask, people, in public. I just don't trust people. Maybe that's that's a flaw that the Lord is working on me with. But man, I go to Walmart and I, for real, like,
Bro, you go to Walmart? You're
yeah,
a brave man. You are a
bro.
brave man. And you might end up on World Star.
Hey, you know what? Anything for the clout. We go viral. You see me. You see me in the background with two people
Anything for
boxing
the clout.
at 9/11. That's fine. I'm here for it with my username. I'm gonna be holding my username right over my head.
No. You be more discreet, but wear a t-shirt and it has the tag on the back of your shirt.
I'm gonna have. You'll see my homies, my yellow homies and heroes T-shirt. It's gonna be in the background, standing out. Now, Jonathan, you are very observative. You're very conscious. You ask a lot of great questions, which is why I believe you're such a great leader. How did you get to that point? You know, that is such a good skill set, and I know that it takes maturing to get to that place. So what is kind of your life's journey up until this point? A little bit of your testimony. What shaped you into being who you are right now?
Yeah, I would say, and this might be an interesting answer, but me asking questions wasn't like a leadership skill that I learned. It wasn't something that like was taught to me. I asked questions because I had a lack of leadership in my life. I asked questions because I had a lack of people who tried to pour into me, who tried to spend time with me, who tried to teach me. And so it was more out of necessity than learning. It was more out of necessity than principle that I was like, well, I want to learn. I had a passion to know, I had a hunger to learn, but I just feel like nobody was trying to teach me. And so then I kind of started my own journey. And so, you know, a lot of people, they're like, I want to find a mentor. I want to find a leader. I would just wish I had someone who would pour into me. And the reality is a lot of times you're not going to find that. You're not going to find this one person who's going to have all the answers and is going to give you everything that you need for life and leadership and ministry and marriage and finding your purpose. You're not. And so out of that came a place where I was like, I just need to ask questions. And so I was that really annoying kid that would come to you after you preach and like ask you questions like, so how did you become a pastor? So like, how did this happen? And it's funny because at first people would like kind of get annoyed that I was that kid.
Right.
But they didn't know that I would become who I am today because I was asking questions when I was young. I was the guy coming up to the preacher and to the evangelist and to the leader and to the fill in the blank. And I would just ask questions. And so I more than anything, it came out of need. And then later on, I found out it was actually a principle for life. It's good to have a healthy curiosity and want to learn and just have a humble spirit where, you know, like, I don't know everything. And I'm always in a place where I want to learn and I want to grow and I want to get better. So I think, first of all, my life is the story of just not having. Like, I didn't have leaders in my life who were there for me and wanted to teach me. If anything, I had a lot of people who kind of rejected me and put me to the side, you know? So I grew up in church my whole life. Best and worst thing that ever happened to me, right? So like, I love Jesus, but I have like a nervous tick. You know what I'm saying? Like, church, like,
put me both.
And so best and worst thing that ever happened to me. And so I love Jesus so much. But man, like, for a long time, I had a real tough time with Christians. You know what I'm saying? And I had to overcome that. And the truth is, I'm 28 years old, and that really hasn't changed. I still have a really big problem with Christians sometimes, and I have a really big problem with church sometimes. And I have some questions, and I have some issues, and I have some internal struggles that I live in. But that's where I just, growing up, I fell in love with the church. I would say this: before Jesus saved me, the church did. Really. Before Jesus saved me, the church did. I was a kid who grew up in a very dysfunctional family, a very broken family, drugs, alcoholism, abandonment, abuse, all kinds of stuff. My dad was in and out of my house my whole life. My mom is handicapped. And so I grew up with a single handicapped mom in a broken, drug-filled family. And we struggled a lot and we went through a lot. And the church was the one that met that need for me. I remember being a kid and I was like 9 years old. And I instinctively knew that if we had a problem, I had to call the church. And so we had a radio station, and it was like this morning show. And there was a time where we didn't have food in our house, and we were really struggling. And bendito my mom, bro, like, Wellllll, I called the radio station, and I said, yo, we don't got no food in our house. Can somebody bring food to our house? And like, my mom gave me the whooping of a lifetime. And
yeah.
but from a very young age, I knew if I had a problem, I could go to the church. And I fell in love with the church. And it's crazy because the church breaks you and it heals you. And that's just the tension that you live in as a Christian, man. Right. Church is imperfect because it's full of people, and people are imperfect. And if the church was perfect, the moment that you or me walk in, we screw it up. And so that's just part of being part of the church. And so learning to be a Christian and learning to be part of the church is learning to live within a tension. You love God and you love the church, and you know it's the bride of Christ, but you know that it's full of imperfect people who are going to hurt you and are going to abandon you and are going to disappoint you. But your job is to love them through it. And so that's just a little bit of my story, bro.
Wow, dude. And you know what? I think that brings up a good follow-up question, because I think the millennials, we'll talk about Gen Z in a little bit, but talk about our generation. The definition of our generation is summed up in a question: the why generation, right? We were so like, and you know, we grew up in families. You don't ask why.
No,
you don't ask.
You just do it.
Yep. Family was that way. Church was that way, and you would interpret God that way. You wouldn't question anything. And for a curious person such as yourself, I can imagine, like you said, there's a lot of rejection that comes with that because people don't want to bother explaining. Sometimes because they haven't fleshed out their own beliefs, and you bring around their insecurities when you ask why. But my question to you is this: has it helped to shape your own why as you've investigated? Well, why this? Why that? Because you talk about that tension, which that's a puzzle and a complexity that who knows if we'll figure that out in a lifetime. But has that helped you shape your own why in a sense?
Absolutely. I would say one of the worst things about church in general is that we never gave people the space to ask why.
Wow.
We didn't give them the space to ask why. And so what happened is people learned that at church, I can't ask why. So if I can't ask it at church, I have to go find it somewhere else. And so what you find now is so many millennials who are trying to figure out life, are trying to figure out faith. They're trying to figure out purpose. They're trying to figure out identity outside of the church, outside of Christianity, outside of the gospel. And you see the places that it takes them to, and many times it's destructive, you know? But here's the thing. It's like, I know that this other thing I'm doing isn't working, but I also know I can't go back to the church. And so where do I go? I can't go anywhere. I can't go anywhere. I go to the world and I'm broken, but I come to the church and I'm broken too. And so you live in a place where I don't belong anywhere, and it creates an identity crisis. And so as a church, we haven't given people the opportunity to ask why. And so we're seeing the results of it in a lot of people. I right now in my own life, I'm journeying with a lot of people, and it's people that I grew up in church that no longer go to church. And one of the things that I continue to have to remind them as they're figuring it out and as they're journeying is like, I just want you to know it's okay to ask why. It's okay to ask why. It's okay. We have to create space to ask why. And like, here's the thing. We just, like you said, one of the reasons why we weren't allowed to ask why is because we didn't have really good answers for the stuff that we were doing. And we didn't have good answers for the stuff that we were believing. And so now, and we'll get to Gen Z in a second, but now the problem that a lot of millennials face, unfortunately, is that some millennials didn't get to do the work of figuring out why. So now that Gen Z, they ain't having it. And so they're coming to us and they're asking why, and we don't have answers. But at the same time, we're thinking to ourselves, man, I'm going to be real honest with you. I actually have the same exact question. We got young people coming and asking us, why do we do this? Or why don't we believe this? Or why have we been doing this? Or why don't we talk about this? And you're regurgitating answers that you don't even agree with.
Wow. Yeah.
And at the same time, you're thinking to yourself, I got to be honest, I've got the same question, brother and sister.
Man, that's huge. And so then that actually is segueing into what I was going to ask you next was, so then what is the Gen Z question? What is bubbling up from them? It could be similar and might in some part be related to exactly the question we have, which is why. But what do you see that is different about Gen Z that maybe we got stalled out on why? Do you see more of a momentum they're able to blast through, or are they getting tripped over the same thing? What are you seeing with that generation?
Gen Z won't take it. They won't take it. This generation that is coming up is a generation of deconstruction. That's what they are. They're deconstructing everything. They're pulling everything apart, and they're saying why. They're taking systems and ideas and policies and politics and religion and culture and everything you could possibly think of, and they're saying why. And if you can't give them a good answer, they will find one without you. And so I think for me, Generation Z, they're not having it, and they want real answers, and they're not afraid to look in other places, because here's the thing, it's just the reality of the digital age. We've never had more access to information than we do right now. I don't need a pastor anymore. I can go to YouTube. I don't need a pastor anymore. I can go to Google. I don't need a pastor anymore. I can go to fill in the blank. And so because of that, I don't need you to answer my whys anymore. Here's the problem with Generation Z though. Generation Z won't take it. They won't do what we did, because what millennials is, we acquiesced. We just continued. We had this loyalty, right? And they're living in a culture where there's not loyalty to anything anymore. There's no, like bro, literally lack of commitment is a motivation now. Like you know, you love it when you get a membership for something and you can opt out at any time.
Yeah.
Literally, cell phone companies literally motivate you to be with them by saying no contract. We live in a generation of no contracts, no commitments, no covenants. And guess what happens? Marriage goes out the window. Religion goes out the window. Biblical sexuality goes out the window. Loyalty to family goes out the window. Loyalty to government goes out the window. Everything goes out the window, because we don't have to be loyal to anything. We don't have to be committed to anything. We don't have to be faithful to anything except ourselves and our ideals and what we feel like is truth. You still with me?
Oh man, I'm getting blown away.
So here's my thing.
Jeez.
I feel like, here's the problem. Generation Z is full of information, but they don't have wisdom. And so information is knowledge. Information is facts, is information, right? But wisdom is what to know, what to do with that information. So here's the thing. What do you do when you have a surplus of information, but a lack of wisdom? You get Generation Z. And so what's happening is this. You have a generation that is deconstructing, but here's the problem. They don't know how to reconstruct something better. And that is where I think our generation has the opportunity to really make a difference. This is where I think Xers and millennials can really partner with Generation Z to say, hey, I agree with you. I agree that this is wrong. I agree that this needs to change. I agree that this is a problem, but let's work on it together. Let's partner. Let's see how we could create a better tomorrow. Let's not just criticize the past. Let's create something better for the future. I feel like a lot of what's happening right now is a criticism of the past. And here's the problem. We never got to criticize the past. And so now people are saying, stop criticizing the past. No, I'm not going to stop criticizing the past, because for my entire life, I wasn't allowed to. For my entire life, I wasn't allowed to question. I wasn't allowed to criticize, because that would be divisive, because that would be prideful, because that would be arrogant, because that would be fill in the blank. But now this generation says, to hell with that. I'm going to talk about it. Nobody's going to silence me. Nobody's going to stop me. And here's what we need to do. We need to affirm that. We need to say, you know what? You're right. There is a problem. There is a situation. There are things that need to change. We need to change racism. We need to change misogyny. We need to change all these different things. Yes, but we can't just critique. We have to build.
Right.
And so...
keep going.
No, I was just going to finish with saying, I think we need to help a generation that is trying to deconstruct to also build something better for the future.
Do you think, in a weird way, do you think that is it a frustration that is mixed in with a fear of commitment? Because there is a risk to commit, and perhaps what do you think would be the remedy? What have you seen as the pattern for Gen Z to commit? Because there have to be, right? There's a remnant. Every generation has a remnant. And what have you seen become the magnet to that remnant that could be scalable, for lack of a better term, for a generation to gravitate to a millennial or to an X or even a boomer to say, hey, I understand your frustrations and I agree with the deconstruction, but let's partner in this so we can build something better for tomorrow, like you were saying.
Yeah. I think a lot of millennials were pushed to the side, were held back, were not given opportunity out of fear and insecurity. Millennials can't be insecure. Xers can't be insecure. I think we say, you know, we tell young people all the time, you are the church. You're not the next generation. You're the now generation. We preach that, but we don't really believe that. We don't really do that. And I think what frustrated a lot of us for so long is that people told us, follow me, right? And just follow me blindly. And one day you're going to have the opportunity to do something and be somewhere and whatever the case is. And I think I'm not trying to get a generation to follow me. I'm actually trying to get a generation to lead me.
Wow. Dang.
I think I am trying to place myself in a place where it's like, you know what? I think I need to follow you. But, and Terry Parkman does such a great job at talking about this. He says, we need to create guardrails for a generation. We need to say, hey, I want you to lead. Hey, I want you to thrive. Hey, I want you to create. Hey, I want you to do. Hey, I want you to build. But let's do it within these parameters. Hey, I'm with you every step of the way. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so here's the thing. Generation Z wants to run, but they're also afraid because they're also smart enough to know that they don't know everything. They're actually hungry for mentorship. They're actually hungry for discipleship. They're actually hungry for someone to take them by the hand and lead them. But I'm telling them, no. I don't want to lead you. You need to lead me. But I'm going to be here so that when you fall, I'll catch you.
Wow.
And every time that I've done that, every time that I've pushed a generation to lead and to move forward, but also allowing them to know that I'm there to catch them, there's a confidence that comes.
Yeah. And what does that empowerment look like? Like you say, like exactly, you gave that example of whenever I've done that. What are some things that you've done to see someone in Gen Z thrive right in front of you?
Eli, quick question. It's not rhetorical. How many times have you gone into a meeting where someone says that they want to hear your ideas and they want to hear your heart, and you give all your ideas and you express your heart and nothing happens?
Too many to count, to be honest. Yeah.
You and I can relate in that. I think we need to start putting our money where our mouth is. Because here's the problem with this generation. They say, if you won't give me a seat at your table, I'll create my own. I don't need you. I don't need your resources. I don't need your influence. I don't need your church. I don't need your platform. I don't need your social media following. I don't need you. They say, I can do it on my own. I'm just trying to get it done. I don't care how it gets done. I don't care about the politics of it. I don't care about the process. I don't care about all these hoops that we have to jump. I'm not trying to kiss anybody's butt. I'm just trying to change the world. I'm just trying to make a difference. I'm just trying to do something. And you're getting in the way. So either you're with me or you're not. Yeah. And so
I'll challenge each other for that. Because like you and I have that experience, right? And I guess logically it would push us into a space of, right? It's the I was parented bad, I'll never be like my dad. Right? But however it works out in most cases, you become like what parented you. How can we break out of what we received to give something better?
Bro, you can't even give when you're insecure.
Come on.
You can't give when you're insecure. And so the problem is too many millennials are leading out of insecurity. Well, because generations before them didn't affirm them, didn't believe in them, didn't support them. And so I would say, first of all, we need to let go. We need to let go of our need to be affirmed. We need to let go of our need. We need to stop waiting for someone to do something to us so we could do it to somebody else. If anything, we need to do the opposite. We need to say, I'm going to give to you what I wish what was given to me. I'm going to do for you what I wish was done for me. I can't wait to be a dad. I cannot wait to be a dad because I grew up without my dad. So when I'm a dad, I'm going to try to be the best dad ever. I remember I went to a Bible Institute, and I had a teacher that was so terrible, was so horrible, that I left that class saying to myself, if God ever allows me the opportunity to be a teacher, I'm going to be the best teacher ever.
Yeah. And
so I think we need to do for a generation what we wish would have been done for us.
Right. Yeah.
And here's the thing. And also, I want to say this because I don't know who's listening. A lot of times, people do to you what was done to them.
Yeah.
They don't know any better. My dad who did what he did because of what his dad did to him. And so millennials can't play the blame game. Young people can't say, well, these people didn't believe in me. Well, they didn't do this. No, you have to start a new pattern. You got to break the curse. You got to change the cycle. You got to be different. And so that's where I feel like we have the opportunity to change the cycle. We got to let students lead. We need to give them real authority, real power, real decision-making power. We need to say, hey, I want you to run with this. I want you to do this. You're going to tell me what to do, and I'm going to do it. As long as it's within these parameters and these guardrails, we're going to follow through with it.
Dang, man. I think that word is empowerment. It's been tossed around, but it's so crucial. And like you said, it's hey, come into my boardroom. I'm going to give you a chance to speak, even though I've already come to the conclusion that I'm going to have, right? Like that's kind of been the pattern majority of the time when it comes with millennials coming up. What examples, or where would you say you have seen an example, or maybe investigated perhaps biblically, or you've seen it in ministries of someone that empowers well? Like, what are the characteristics of someone empowering well?
Honestly, bro, someone who stays behind the scenes. Like, have you ever met a leader that has so much influence, but they're not doing much?
Yeah.
Those are the best leaders. The best leaders are the ones that don't have to be on the stage. The best leaders are the ones that don't have to have the last word. They don't have to be in the post. They don't have to be in the picture. They don't have to be in the meeting. They don't have to be in the anything.
Yeah.
The best kind of leaders are the leaders who aren't afraid to give things away. Generous leaders. You don't have to be on top. You don't have to always be the face. You don't always have to do everything. The best youth ministries are the ones where I walk in and, like, for example, I preach at a lot of churches, a lot of events, a lot of conventions, right? And the best thing, here's what I know when I'm with a good leader. When I'm walking around and the leader's not doing anything.
Yeah.
Now, if I go to a church or if I go to an event and the leader's running around, it shows me that he hasn't empowered his people. Shows me that he hasn't empowered his people. But if I go somewhere and me and the leader are just chilling, we're in the back, we're in his office. He's like, you know what, bro, let's just go get coffee. We still got time for service. I'm like, bro, you good? You don't got to be here? They're like, nah, I don't got to be here. My team's got it. That means they empower their team. And I mean, we could name so many leaders across the country. I see Terry Parkman saying that Vince Parker is one of them. Yep. Vince Parker is one of the most humble, loving, generous people I've ever met in my entire life. We were just talking 2 days ago about something that he's doing, and literally he's doing something so that he can give it away. That's just generous leaders are not insecure. Generous people in general are not insecure because, and I was telling somebody this the other day, the reason why I never lack is because I give away everything I have.
Wow. Yeah. Sheesh. Like, we could chew on that forever, actually.
We could keep on going, bro. I'm good. I'm in it right now. I'm chilling.
No, and you know what? Like, you're hitting every nail on the head, because there is so much insecurity within your and my generation, the millennial generation. It's like a dam that's stopping so much to flowing into this next generation. How can we now let's step back into our fight, right? the Gen Z has their fight, but like you said, we're no good to anybody if we're insecure and we're competing, we're fighting. Because Gen Z has that entrepreneur spirit. They're like, yo, y'all don't have room on Instagram, we're going to go to TikTok. Oh, they're going to take TikTok away? All right, we're going to jump on something else, and we're going to make our waves, and we're going to get our own influence. And they're building these empires, these young kids, building these empires of influence. And so for us millennials, there is no time. There's no time to be insecure. How can we get over insecurity and competitive spirit, man? It's so competitive, man. I feel like I have to reboot myself, right? Even as good as you are, like, I'm not going to be competitive this week. And then you're like, but everything is numbers based. How can you not look at that? Is there a way that you have found yourself balancing out so that you don't remain insecure and you don't remain competitive? Is there a way that you've seen in your life?
Here's the thing, bro. Oh, God. Gen Z is teaching us that millennials are trying to climb ladders that no longer exist.
Talk on it.
Bro, this is something that I've been wrestling this week. Literally, millennials are trying to climb ladders that no longer exist. You know how they always talk about like the corporate ladder?
Yep.
Right? And everyone's trying to go up the corporate ladder. And I feel like sometimes in ministry it's the same thing, right? Everyone's trying to get to the conference, and everyone's trying to get to this position. Everyone's trying to get to this salary, and everyone wants to be on this Zoom call, and everyone wants to be cool with this person, and fill in the blank. But here's the thing. We're getting to a point where none of that stuff even matters anymore. Yeah. Like youth ministry clout is like monopoly money. It doesn't.
This episode, bro.
It doesn't really matter, bro. It really doesn't. Like, bro, I'll be so honest with you. And I don't say this like in an arrogant way. I came to a point where I just didn't care anymore. Yeah. I didn't care anymore. I just stopped caring. Like, and again, I'm in a place now where I have to literally sit down with people and I have to tell them this phrase. Hey, bro, I just want you to know I want nothing from you. I don't want to be on your Instagram. I don't want to preach at your youth group. I don't want people to even know that we're friends, bro.
Wow.
And guess what? Yeah. Anything that I have is yours.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell you that a couple things happen, I've had people who are shocked. I mean, absolutely shocked that I even say those words. That I'm just that blunt with them. Yeah. There's people that say, bro, I've never had a friend in ministry like that. And then I have people who admit, dude, it feels like ministry has become so transactional. Where we're all using each other. We're all just using each other. We don't even care about each other. We don't even love each other. And again, it's about insecurity, because when you're insecure, you keep people away. When you're insecure, you have walls. And when you're insecure, you only use people when you need them, not because you love them. And so I know this sounds maybe over spiritual, but bro, it's for me, it's really practical. The only way that we're going to be able to create real relationships is if we're loving and if we're generous. I want to be your friend because I love you, and I don't want anything from you. I actually want to give you something. Yeah.
Dude, and I'm going to just because no one would know this, but I'm going to say it because it's true. Guys, what Jonathan just said is the way me and Jonathan became friends. It's exactly that conversation. Almost taken aback because, you know, I feel that I'm like, dude, I want to be your buddy. And he's like, let me preface our friendship with this. And it was really refreshing for you to be honest. Now, I'm on the naive side still. I don't know how I've maintained that because my dad's been a pastor 22 years, so I've seen some brutal things in ministry. And like you said, you just get some PTSD. It's like spiritual PTSD at times.
And that's a real thing, bro.
No, 100%. It's so damaging and it trips you up. But anyways, I really do feel like it is transactional. It's like, what do you do for me? Like, I enjoy, for example, what I do with Homies and Heroes. I enjoy sharing my friends with the world. I'm like, y'all need to hear this dude. This is the dude. Like y'all might have heard other dudes. This is the dude. And I feel like I have to preface with people like, hey man, just because I'm having you on my thing, you don't have to have me on your thing. Right? Just because I brought you to my conference, I
don't have a thing to bring you to, so I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? I'm putting it on layaway. When you do have one, go make sure you put me on. Now, I'm kidding. But there is this, like, it sucks because now we have to guess, right? Like, you know, are we actually friends, or are you friends with me because you know who I work for or who I'm associated with?
Can I say something? Because what you're saying is so good, bro. Listen.
Go, keep going.
You have to come to a point. I can't determine what other people do. I can't determine how other people feel. I can't determine why other people want to be my friend, but I can determine why I want to be friends with people.
That's good. It's good.
And so here's the thing. If you love me, awesome. And if you don't love me, that's okay, because our relationship was never predicated on your love for me. It was predicated on my love for you. It was never based. And here's the thing, that's godly love. That's agape love. Yep. That's Jesus love, unconditional, bro. And that's a real thing that we need to begin to practice, bro, where I do things for you, I hook you up, I'm generous with my resources, with my friendships, with my networks, with my energy, with my gifts. Everything that I have has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me. And I don't need anything from you, because everything that I already need, I get from God. And so I don't need you. I don't need you to open doors for me. God opens doors for me. I don't need you to help me make friends. God helps me to make friends. If there's a relationship that God wants me to have, he's going to bring them into my life. I don't need you. Like right now, Eli, and you know I love you, so I'm not like attacking you. I don't need you. I don't need to be on your podcast. I don't need to be on your IG live. I don't need to be in an Instagram picture with you. I don't need you. And here's the good news. You don't need me either, bro. Because guess what? At the end of the day, I have a source, bro. And yo, when you for real get that in your spirit, bro, it changes you. It's so freeing to love people for no other reason than the fact that they're people, bro. Then they're people. It's crazy that dudes legit have to tell me, bro, like, I'm so thankful for you because all these other dudes, they don't love me the way you do. Like, I have friends who legit, they come to me because they know, I know Jonathan doesn't want anything from me. Bro, I'll be real with you. Listen, I am very low-key. Very low-key. There's places I preach at, nobody will ever know. There's friendships that I have, nobody will ever know. There's conversations that I have, no one will ever know. There's stuff that I do in ministry that I could blow people's minds with, but nobody has to know. Right. Because I'm secure in myself. I don't do it so that people can know. I don't do it so that people can be impressed. Because if that's the case, get out of ministry. If that's the case, bro, drop it right now. You're in the wrong business, bro. Become an Instagram influencer, work at a bank, become a model, become a rapper, but don't be a pastor, but don't be a minister. And so, bro, I just end with this. Like, the reason, and it all comes out of insecurity, bro. It all comes out of insecurity. And so when you come to a place when you're secure in yourself and you're secure in your source and you know who you are, you can love people without expecting anything in return. And so, yeah, man, I'm sorry for my rant.
Ooh, no, that was not a rant. That was called revelation, my brother. That just solidified, I think, our entire talk. That was a perfect place to land the plane. I think that you answered my question so perfectly. Insecurity comes when you try to secure yourself. And when you try to secure yourself, you can make the moves. You think you could climb the ladder. But when your security comes, of course, come on, somebody. When the security comes to him, what do you need? You don't need nobody else. He's the one that opens. Come on. And
here's the thing, bro. We're climbing up a ladder that don't even exist no more, bro.
I'm gonna yell! I'm yelling at my TV over here! It's a small TV, don't worry. It's not a big TV. I don't got that. I'm a minister, remember. Man, I appreciate you so much, Jonathan. I gotta have you back on because I know you need more clout. And I know that I need to be on your podcast. Like, learned nothing from our talk. But dude, seriously, you are a breath of fresh air. You are one of my I would say you have the most intense love in the best way. I think you are clear.
That.
You need, nowadays there needs to be a clear love. Like
Yeah.
we can't just play around with love. I think you're very clear about the love that you have, man, and you show love, man. And I think that our friendship's a testament to that, because you know, it's one of those, you know, it's real friendship when you don't have to call someone every single week to maintain friendship. It's just, you know, like you said, when you see the humanity of somebody, you see the person that they are beyond what they do, the being of the person, man. Easy to pick up where you left off, and this was no different, brother. I want you to put a plug in for whatever. I usually let guests plug in. Where can they see sermons? I know this is kind of awkward because you're like, I don't do it for applause. It's fine. Where can they see sermons, podcasts, or perhaps there's a place that you want to plug, maybe a ministry or resource, a book, a podcast, any plugs that you want to give, go for it.
I'm trying to think if I want to give a plug to something. I think I'd like to plug in Terry Parkman. If you guys are watching right now and you don't know who Terry Parkman is, one of the best leaders just in the country. He's a great guy. Also, Vince Parker. Terry's the youth pastor at River Valley. Vince Parker is the youth pastor at Life Church. And just two of the most amazing people that I know and I'm thankful for, and just embody what we've been talking about so well. And so that's why I brought them up. And last but not least, my brother, one of the greatest people in the world, is my brother, Ben Gomez. These are just three leaders that if you don't know, you got to follow. You got to follow their Instagram. So Terry Parkman, Vince Parker, Ben Gomez. Three leaders that you want to follow, that you want to emulate, that you want to be more like. I would say those are three people that I like to put in there.
Man, I co-sign that. Those guys are awesome. They're amazing. They're changing the world. But Jonathan, you are as well, my brother. Thank you so much for jumping on this episode. And we will have you back because there's so much fire left inside of you that I just need a couple of episodes to contain it. But thank you. Have a fantastic night, guys. This guy is running on little sleep like he has kids, but good training for him when he has kids in the future, man. You're going to make it. You're doing a great job. And hope to see you real soon, man. Maybe in person.
Sounds like a plan. Dude, once COVID's done, let's hang out.
Yeah, let's cancel COVID, y'all. We're going to sign the petition. Go to the Cancel COVID website. Peace, bro.
Love you, bro.
Yo, that was my brother, Jonathan Rivera. There's not many people built like him in our generation. He lives his life as an example of a standard that I think a lot of people could look up to, like myself, man. I look up to the standard that he lives, unwavering. It's challenging. If you don't know, this episode will be on my page for the next 24 hours, but I will be uploading this episode to YouTube, to podcast. There was so much wealth in this. I'm going to go back and listen to it. You need to tell a friend about it. If you have no idea what I'm talking about when I say podcast, YouTube, go to my links in bio. You can see so many different episodes just like this one. So many stories, so much insight. I believe that it's going to bless you. That's the reason I do this. Man, the homies and heroes in my life, they're such a blessing to me, and I want to share them with the world. Be blessed. Have a fantastic Monday night. And perhaps I will throw out another throwback episode for you this week. And so double it, Lord. Be blessed. And we'll see you later.